That's right. We're good. We're good. We're in. We're in. Welcome everyone to our rather spontaneous Q&A live stream. With me today we have Atlas Rise, Big Smith 01, T-Bowls 89, and Silver Tongue Devil. If you want to say hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
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 So kicking off this Q&A live stream, I figured we'd all hear from the legend himself, Atlas Rise, absolutely setting records with his 57 million point score that he's got going on at the moment. So Atlas, what sort of things would you like to hear, or what would players like to hear from such a high cycle run?
It was quite a long run, starting November 30th, right after the desolation trials. So I'm glad that the season is over soon, that I can also end the run as well. But it's been satisfying to reach the same or even surpass the cycle that I had last season. Maybe more exciting than last season because Sean is a bit behind, so to speak. But nevertheless, I think reaching cycle 20 has been a milestone. I'm really glad that I'm there. So what I could add is that this time, even though you can perceive that 20 cycles is quite a lot of cycles, and 57 million points is also a bit surreal even to me. But it's about planning. I knew what was expecting me last season, going through 18 cycles. So I kind of projected that if I play at a certain pace in November, then I will be here where I am today. So I would say it's knowing the game and also planning it very carefully. So. Not just an overall, but of course we can deep dive into more details.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all I can say is GG, bro, because just definitely setting ID records, far surpassing Funky Show. I believe had the original top score back in season 1.
That was before any of the stupidly ridiculous amounts of damage as well.
That is true.
So
that is true.
It's the one thing I've thought about. I do not want the game to go back to that because I don't want to see a combination of 1 damage and that guy.
I like it. So we've got a question for LG straight in for you, Atlas Rise. Why do you choose to only do Desolation? That's from Stacey Summers.
Because it's fun, it's new, more challenging. I think I got bored playing Purgatory since I started this game, which was December 2020, I think. The visuals are stunning. The enemies are more challenging with the bats and catacombs. There is tendency, at least to my experience, to get more drops that I need for the pit and then for Anakim. And yeah, ultimately I like new challenges. So I think this is one of the reasons that I wanted to play in this season, because Desolation was one of the coolest things I've seen about this game.
No, definitely. That's how Desolation was designed as well. It definitely shows in your score. When Desolation came out, there's about a 10% increase in score compared to Purgatory by the end of, as long as you kill every enemy.
Yeah.
So obviously that really reflects going into higher cycles as well. Obviously that 10% would increase to a good couple of 100,000 compared to Purgatory around cycle 15 plus. So.
Yeah, but the points was not that motivating. I think, of course, it's good to have more points, but I think it gets you out of the comfort zone. So I did this quite a lot when we had the Desolation trials, but then I needed to figure out a lot of stuff. So I did that as we go along, discovering how to tackle some of the maps, how to tackle the bats and the catacombs. So I think that plays a huge role to keep going at this game. And again, very nice addition to the game, I must say.
Yeah, definitely. Let's throw it over to you, Rob, Silver Tongue Devil. Obviously, you're creeping up on those leaderboards quite fast. Do you reckon you'll catch Atlas with 1 week left to go, or is that a bit out of the question?
I mean, if anything, it's just not even going to be a challenge, is it? I mean, 55 million, what's that? It's only 25 million more than what I've got. Shouldn't be a problem at all. As I was saying to as I was saying to Big Smith, I've decided to take my headset offline so that my scores will only update right at the end. So, you know, I've got a bow run going, I've got a crossbow going. You know, we'll see what happens. Eh?
I don't think any of us should be surprised that you're up to some tricks.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Always
If
got
they're
some
going to
sort
take
of
away my
trick.
toys, if Super Bright are going to take away my favorite toys, then I've got to find something else to play with. All right.
Fair enough. Well, keep the questions coming in, guys. We haven't got many at the moment. We'll answer as many questions as we can get for over the next hour. Obviously, Season 5 announcement has just dropped as well. For those of you that didn't catch it, there is a little teaser in the photo that we released. Just covering some info on that, which I am allowed to share with you all. So, starts off with... Where shall I start? Bear with me. There's some info here that I can't share just yet.
What? We're on a stream. We're on a live stream now, unprofessional. If you
right,
have
I've got
the
it prepared.
information, put it on the screen.
It's all right. I've got it.
Tell us.
I've got a little
Tell
speech.
us.
Got a little speech prepared. It's fine. It's all good.
No, but tell us. No, I don't want the prepared stuff. Tell us the good stuff. Tell us the stuff you can't tell.
It'll all come in time. So the brief information I can share is, first of all, you should finish up those main game runs and squeeze in that last Siege of Heaven score, because on April 12th, all players will earn legend points depending on their position on the leaderboards. Your legend rank is calculated based on your legend point score. New weapon skins are awarded based on your rank. Top 100 players will be honoured and immortalised into the list of names in the Hall of Fame. You can find that in the settings. What else have we got? The new season will begin. And the leaderboards will be reset so everyone gets a fresh start, but your achievement % progress will maintain like throughout each season, no matter how far we get. That's why we're always trying to add new achievements into the game as well. What we got there? So coming with Season 5, we have 2 new Siege of Heaven maps based in Desolation with all your favourite Desolation enemies. Breathtaking visuals allowing players to rediscover Desolation's rich environment. Unique and exciting gameplay features, including a 360-degree arena-like style finale, with 15 new Siege of Heaven achievements and rewards that you asked for. So one of the rewards is you'll now be able to choose which special arrow that you start with on Siege of Heaven, which I think is a huge quality of life change.
That's so good.
Everyone asked for it, we listened, so we went for it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go to you, Sean. What do you have to say about that?
The 360 playfield or whatever they're calling it sounds awesome. I mean, I've always thought that, you know, having the 360, and even if somehow in the future, I know everybody wants a multiplayer, but if even just the 360 alone is going to be a huge change for the game, just having that as an added difficulty of having to watch all the way around you versus what's just in front of you. It's you know, I'm a huge Siege of Heaven, you know, guy, as everybody knows. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting though, just an added level of difficulty to help, you know, hopefully attract new players into that mode of the game.
No, definitely. T-Balls, what are your thoughts?
On the 360?
Or just all the new content coming in general?
Oh, it's exciting. Obviously, I'm not very skilled at Siege of Heaven. But I'm definitely excited to try the 360, but I feel like it's more exciting, I think, for me to see the top Siege of Heaven players kind of tackle the 360, because I just feel like I'd like to get their perspective on
Easy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be easy.
what it's
Don't worry
like,
about it.
yeah,
It's going to be easy.
on how they can push the boundaries, I guess.
That's it. That's definitely something. Some of the top Siege of Heaven players are pulling out scores that we didn't even think were possible back when Siege of Heaven was first
Yeah.
released.
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me either. It's annoying.
Like it. We've got 24 of you watching right now. Invite your friends, invite your family. Any questions you want to ask us, throw them at us. If we can answer them, we will. But yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the Siege of Heaven thing's concerned, yeah, I'm very excited about 360 map, but there's also another map as well, isn't there? There's 2 maps.
Yes, the 2
And
maps
they're
in
both
total.
based around Desolation?
Yep, so one will be based on like the upper eerie part of Desolation, one will be based on the like catacombs below and the nice polished marble and stuff like that. So
Awesome. Now that does sound really
Nice.
cool. The 360
Yeah.
thing sounds really good. They're not both 360 though, it's just the one 360.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Now, to be fair, that sounds to me, that sounds good enough that you could make another mode off of that. The
Quite
Siege
possibly.
of Heaven thing is one thing in that it's almost like a bit of a tower defense, but the 360 thing is going to change that up so much. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's it. It brings immersion to a whole another level for sure.
I'd say I hope it's done well, but I know Superbright are on this, so it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It will definitely be done well. Let's just hope that it's on time.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Hey,
As far as
look,
I know,
it's
everything's
all
going smoothly.
free. It's all free stuff.
All free,
So
that's
they
right.
take as
Nobody's
long as they
complaining.
want.
That's
They
true.
take as long as they want. Take as long as they want, but yeah, stick to the time she said. We want it now. We want it yesterday.
Everyone wants it yesterday. So Paul's come in with, are there any thoughts about adding more lore and flavour items as drops into the maps? Quite enjoy finding the lore shards. There are no thoughts as of yet. It was just sort of one-off thing to try and spice up the game a bit more. But I'll take that as feedback. I'll definitely pass that on to the team and I'll see if there's some more that we can add into it, I guess. Well, I'll get a consensus from the whole team and see what we can add. I said, what do you guys think of the adding the lore to the game? Like just
Like
to
the
give
lore
that
shards,
just a little bit of
Yeah.
backstory as to what you're actually doing, I suppose.
right? Absolutely. I always thought it'd be cool too if you when you reached out and grabbed one of them, if it like triggered a background or a back video that that you could have a little extra to the backstory.
That would have been cool.
I think that
Yeah.
video is quite
That's a
cool.
good idea.
Yeah.
Team is super right. If you're watching, that's a good idea. Like it.
I mean, I've voiced my thoughts on it before. I liked it when it was ambiguous. I liked it when we might be the good guy, we might be the bad guy, we might be the neutral guy. I'll be honest. I appreciate the fact that there's now story in the game, and anything that advances anything in what we're doing is always going to be good. But yeah, I like the ambiguity that we could be good, bad, neutral, whatever.
No, definitely.
I did prefer that. But then that's the thing, is it's there. You can pick it up and pay attention to it, or if you're like me, you can ignore it, or pick it up and never have to read it again. So it's good that it's there, but it's not put into your face.
Yeah.
So
No, definitely.
I will pretend that I'm still the bad guy.
That's
because
it, just-
somebody's got
And
to be
definitely
out.
not forced upon you.
Yeah.
And definitely
Yeah.
not forced.
No, gave the game a little bit of flavour, I guess. Keep these questions coming, guys. It's coming in dribs and drabs at the moment.
I've got a question for Tiff. When are you going to start running the crossbow?
Well, obviously not this season. I did do a crossbow run earlier on, but I think I could get further now.
See, I saw your scores creep up in the crossbow on the tournament, and you were
Yeah.
putting some decent scores down. So there's nothing to stop you. As you obviously all know, and probably everybody watching knows as well, I'm a big advocate of the crossbow. I definitely think it's the way to start the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, push it, push. Do the other thing I was going to ask you as well. What's the highest cycle you've been to? I think everybody knows ours.
My highest cycle, like with the crossbow or with anything?
With anything.
The one I'm at right now, 14. I've never been here before.
Exciting stuff. Challenging stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stacey just come in with, will there be new types of tournaments or the same as in the past? That is a great question.
Yeah. We hope.
I need to word this very carefully. We have brought it up. Well, I've brought it up.
No, don't word it very carefully. Be loose.
Be loose.
Fire
Just
this
let it rip.
information off the hip.
Yeah.
Just
Share-
let it
share
rip.
all the secrets, yeah.
Say whatever comes to mind. Say
Um,
whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. So no, I have brought this up with Super Bright, that people are getting a little bit annoyed at the whole timed speed run idea of tournaments. Obviously, Rob's going to disagree because he tops every single one.
Well,
Right.
Yeah, but it is becoming.
Yeah, because that's because our practice.
So so I have mentioned that new style of tournaments do need to come up. Obviously, there's always tournaments that come up with new content, and the fact that this time round, obviously, we had Desolation last season, so we've got back to Siege of Heaven this season. No doubt there'll be another Siege of Heaven tournament coming with this new content.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so
I was thinking too. With Siege of Heaven being the big announcement with new maps, I'm a betting man that I'm guessing there's going to be some Siege of Heaven tournaments.
I mean, so it's super bright.
Brush up on those skills now.
They love their tournaments,
Yeah.
but that's it. I suppose that in some respect that will be a different style of tournament compared to what everyone's used to at the moment. So
I feel like after that, like I really hope that they do offer something different, because I feel like, yeah, we've done the whole speed run thing for 3 tournaments in a row, and I mean, that's fine, it's fun, it pushes you a little bit, but it does get a little bit repetitive in the sense that it only appeals to a subset of players. There is a full other subset of players who don't speed run and who play slow and carefully, and I feel like an accuracy-based tournament would be interesting to switch it up a little bit.
no, definitely getting rid of that timer and just letting people go for it the way they like to play is definitely a good way to change it up.
Your long range and accuracy and careful is called Siege of Heaven.
No,
just to
no,
put it out
Not
there.
completely.
Yes,
but they
it
don't,
is.
in Siege of Heaven they don't shoot
Yes,
back,
it is.
so
You
it's
want
slightly
an
different.
accuracy-based competition.
Yes,
That's
but,
what Siege of
okay.
Heaven is for.
No, let me explain. So, Siege of Heaven, okay, the enemies are walking this way, right? And in the main game, they are walking this way. It is just different. So I know, like, if I have a monk who's just standing still in the distance that I can barely see, I know that I can headshot that monk. When I have an enemy that's walking sideways and I have to take into account the movement at the same time, accuracy is just not the same in Siege of Heaven.
So basically, what you're telling me there is that you don't like Siege of Heaven because you have to be more accurate, but you want
essentially
something that tests your accuracy.
It's a different
No,
kind of
I mean,
accuracy. It's a different,
you're quite right.
It's just
I'm just
different.
arguing for
It's
the sake of
different.
arguing.
Yeah.
But no, you are right in that it is, but then that's why I think the accuracy we have already in Siege of Heaven, because it's not just accuracy as well. To be good in Siege of Heaven, John knows this because he's just coming up on the whole Siege of Heaven thing. It isn't just about accuracy, it's also about consistency. If you aren't consistent in Siege of Heaven, you cannot score well. Simple as that. That's something that you don't. So, is that accuracy? You're damn right it is. Do you need to do that in the main game? Nope. There's nothing there for us in there. Carry on with
Definitely
speed and aggression and fast close range, exciting gameplay. Yes, that's what this player wants.
There's also too, though, the element that, like, yeah, okay, if you do a Siege of Heaven tournament, sure, yeah, there's it displays your accuracy, but at the same time, if you're not a Siege of Heaven player like myself, there's so many things about the scoring that you just don't know. So like I never even knew that about the perfect wave thing. Like, I had no clue that you could not miss a shot. So I was focusing so much on headshots and I was missing shots like crazy, and then realizing that was compromising my score big time because I'm not getting any perfect waves. So I feel like if you don't play Siege of Heaven, you don't really know these things. Because for me in the main game, like, I will take the time to miss shots in order to get that really, really long range headshots, because I will start higher and then work your way down, but you're making sure you're getting that headshot. So I just feel like it's a different beast altogether.
Well, I will tell you, Tiff, if there are any questions that you have, feel free to ask. You've got me, you've got Beanie. I mean, Sean knows a bit. I think LG's played, the main game a little as well. So any questions, just ask.
She's up
I would
with the
assume. I would assume with the new
all that
update.
to say that I just want one regular game accuracy based tournament. That is all, just one, and then after that I'll stop talking.
Like it.
So what's your idea for that tournament?
I feel like you could do, it could be something so simple as just being like, okay, you have one map, and then at the end of the map, whoever scores the highest, um, you get the points from that because, yeah, there's no time on it, but you could actually take the time to go through the map and get the furthest range headshots that you could possibly do to up your score the highest.
Or what if you had like
I suppose for something like that, you'd have to disable the executioner bonus as well.
yeah,
If
if you're wanting
possible.
accuracy, you could do something to where like you only start out with one health tick, and if you miss, you die, or
Yeah.
you start out with full health, and every miss you lose a health tick, and
Lose a
you
health,
can't
yeah,
ever
100%.
replenishment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Something like that would be cool.
that could work.
yeah, that would work really well. Yeah, I would love something like that.
They'd have to fix the arrows through the hoods, but
That's true.
Small fix.
Small fix. So
Just
Luke,
have to slow down.
that's it. So Luke Porter's just come through with Silver Tongue Devil. I'm looking forward to your new videos about the new season. There you go.
I'm looking to doing the new videos about the new season. Also, that last one, I was just saying to these guys before we came on, they were like, "Oh, how long did that take you?" I was like, "Well, I've borrowed a little bit from here and there as I do in my videos, but yeah, it's about 1 minute to 3 hours worth of work ish to about 1 minute worth of footage, and that's because I'm no editor. I'm not very good at it. I'm just learning.
You're getting better. You're getting
just
better.
getting there.
The videos are good.
I think I'm improving. Oh, to be honest with you, Beanie, I could never compare to your acting skills. They are, I saw
Acting skills
that.
are great.
Saw that April Fool's video. Amazing.
I think I fooled enough people with that one.
No, it's great. It's great. I've quite happily shut you down all season about Unholy Wind, but people just they just want
They
want
want
it.
it.
They want it too
They
bad.
wanted to do something. So Jeff,
But yeah, as far as the new video is concerned, yeah, I'll give me more content. I've got loads more videos to make. Even without any new content, I've still probably got ideas for about another 30 to 50 videos. So, and that's not including the little short ones that seem to be doing all right. So,
I like it. Doing well. So Jeff Lee's come through with Beanie. It sounded like you said finale. Does that mean these 2 new levels are capping off Siege of Heaven for good? At the moment, yes. Obviously, there are only 3 chapters planned for, so these last 2 maps will be chapter 3. From there, who knows what will happen. Obviously, if it turns out to be such a big hit, then things might change in the future. But who knows? It's open-ended for now, so we'll see what happens as time goes on, I guess. Rob Anderson, how should my style change at cycle 5? Double damage, faster, more aggressive enemies. I die pretty quick and can't top 3 million. Sean, let's throw that question at you. What do you reckon?
I would say the number one thing that you have to start doing is just slowing down, being very meticulous with aggroing only what you can handle. Because that's obviously where you get in trouble. It's usually not the one-on-one fights where you get in trouble and you start taking a bunch of damage and losing 2 health ticks at every shot. It's where you aggro 3, 4, 5 enemies and you don't have an escape route planned. And then even at that point, they're so aggressive that they will chase you for quite some time. So just really working on your tactic for sneaking around corners, just inching little by little, and only, like I said, just only aggroing what you can handle. That's probably the number one thing that you have to start adjusting to at the higher cycles.
Definitely. Atlas, anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was spot on. I mean, that I can absolutely agree. It's the key skill to advance in the cycles, making complex things simple, breaking down the maps to simple sections, and then tackling those enemies with what Sean stated, divide and conquer. So you kind of learn how to aggro one enemy at a time. That's basically what I'm doing all the time. So I rarely tackle more than one. Well, sometimes you don't have a choice, but the main philosophy is just one enemy at a time. You stun them and then just spam all the arrows in their face. It's basically down to that, because if you think of that as a whole, even experienced players like us are overwhelmed with this game. I mean, if you think as desolation as a whole, or the pits as a whole, or even the bosses, is just too overwhelming. So I suggest like simplifying that and concentrate one step at a time, one map at a time, one section at a time, and then yeah, basically simplifying the whole thing.
No, definitely.
Just because it's there doesn't need to be complex. I mean, there are tons of creative approaches that you can simplify. And that's the key to reaching cycle 20. I don't want to oversimplify this, not to sound like conky or anything, but I think that's the main point about like making it this really simple. You don't need to go to a specific enemy. You can just like shoot an arrow in the air and then have that enemy walking to you. You don't need to have a shoot off with a monk. You just stun them and then finish up close and personal. So all these things are kind of the secret to tackle this game.
Yeah, no, definitely.
If you can have like every enemy come to you, I just find that is, yeah, for sure a better route to go about it. Like yesterday in Purgatory, like I knew that I had cleared out the whole main building, so then I was like, all those enemies in the distance, I could see how many were there from pretty far, and as long as I shot an arrow that was going to aggro one monk but not the other one that's, you know, a couple of feet away from that monk will come to you and you can tackle them one by one in an atmosphere where you can control it. So if you are not confident in your headshots or your ability to hit them from far, you can teleport right up close to them and then just headshot them when you know you're not going to miss and you're not going to die. And then another thing that I would probably say is just with the stray arrows, like if you peek around a corner and you aggro, say, one knight, yeah, pull the knight out of that room. Don't have any arrows going into that room. Change your backdrop so that you know that if you miss the knight and your arrow's going somewhere, it's not going into a room where you know there's other enemies.
No, definitely. All good. Very good tips.
Beanie, where do you get these panelists? Right, you and me know that's all rubbish. You dive right into the middle of the room,
right into the middle,
and then you kill everything you see as fast as you possibly can. Then you go to the next room and you do the same again. No, this
was from Cycle 5 and up, so.
Yeah, it is slow, careful, and meticulous. And the one, I think, the biggest thing that I had, the biggest change that I had to make when I was going to the higher cycles was knowing when to run.
Yeah.
There's lots of situations that you get into that you could push, you could try and come out on top, but ultimately you're going to end up wasting resources, wasting life. It's going to put you in a worse position for later on in the game. And so knowing, like the typical scenario that I can think of now, knight coming at you, monk teleports in behind you. No, I'm out, gone. It doesn't really matter what cycle you're at, but especially at that cycle, I'd say cycle 6 and 5, 6 onwards, the archer teleports in behind, knight's charging at you, you go.
Retreat.
Just get out of there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely.
That's what we all do. That's what everybody does at the ridiculously high cycles, and I hate it.
It's slow and tedious for now.
And if you have the opportunity to like use a rooftop, like if you have a monk and a knight not teleport, but the knight runs to you and then monk teleports. Well, if you can use a rooftop, you know that you're safe from the knight while you tackle the monk.
Or just bring the good old friend Winter's Bite and everything.
Or Winter's Bite, yeah. 100%
freeze them
Winter's
all out.
Bite.
Lazy, stop being lazy. You're supposed to use them for the bosses, nothing else. Come on, play it properly.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you start getting high cycles, you really got to conserve those resources. So
That is true.
But you've also got to use them as well. So yeah.
At the bosses, yeah, absolutely.
Moving on further, we're getting quite a few
You've gotta use
questions coming through now. So
Yes.
we've got Paul Coastal. Any chance of co-op multiplayer? I'm pretty sure we covered this in a previous stream. We have dabbled with it. It's potentially on the... Well, I can't say potentially. That's the wrong word to use. It's not coming anytime soon, is the best way to put it. What you need to understand is Super Bright are a small team. and trying to incorporate multiplayer into a game that was designed as a single player game, it's like trying to add the multiplayer is like building an entire new game from scratch, like from the ground up all over again. There's a lot of complications involved with it. Yeah, and it's just endless of problem after problem after problem. So unfortunately it's not something we'll see soon, but it's something that Superbright are desperately like trying to figure out, I guess, because we know it's what everyone wants.
But I'm not sure about that, and this is just my opinion. Sorry, Rob. I actually don't see this game as a co-op game. I think it's kind of the story, the narrative that you're kind of this lone ranger or whatever you are, and then going into the afterlife and facing these enemies. It's just, I buy in that story. If someone says co-op, then I would think twice whether I should play it. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And it's of course my opinion.
But that's the thing. It's designed as a polished single player game. So obviously, if an IDU 2 was to ever happen, then
which is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
just in Death 2,
yeah.
rebuild, put the multiplayer in, make it completely different
Yeah.
to the single player, so that people who want that single player experience have still got it, and then a multiplayer as well. And on the multiplayer, just a suggestion, force one person to be the bow, one person to be the crossbow. There you go. Everyone will be happy with that way.
Like it. Let's try and sift through some of these. A capture the flag style tournament where you have to find a hidden item and get out without taking damage. What do we think of that? That's not a bad idea.
Something in the pit.
Put the flag on the orphan. Happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flag on the
It would
orphan.
depend on-
Send
it would
the orphan
depend on
off
what-
into the level.
Yeah,
Give
it
her
would
a
depend on
couple of
what
second head
level
start.
like the enemies are at too, because like a cycle 1, you can get in and out of just about any
Yeah,
area
100%.
and
Oh, yeah,
not
you-
take any
Yeah,
damage.
you'd have to go in at like cycle 15 or something like that.
Right,
Monk,
yeah.
Where monks start shooting laser beams at you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. It's one of the
That
things
kind
I
of-
actually thought about. Is I wonder if they could make it so that there can be some sort of differentiation between an alerted enemy and an unalerted enemy. I know at the moment it's very difficult to not alert an enemy, but maybe if they incorporated some sort of line of sight, I don't know how much that would change the behaviors to allow us to stealth through a level, and then that might make something like a capture the flag gun quite good.
Yeah.
But a huge cycle, and then you could make it so that you've got to capture that flag, but if you alert any enemies, then you're done, you've got to start again. Or the flag holder runs as soon as.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
No.
Stealth. I like stealth. It's
Definitely.
strange that.
It's not
I
a
like
bad idea.
binning in there, killing everything, and stealth.
It's definitely not a bad idea. Rob Anson would like to express his gratitude for Superbright's hard work. Thank you, Rob. We try our best.
I think we all would.
Yeah. Yvonne, when are Silver Tongue Devil's pie vids coming?
Silver Tongue Devil doesn't eat the kind of pie that Von is talking about. She, of course, for those of you who don't know, Von is talking about humble pie, and unfortunately, in my world, it doesn't exist.
I like it.
Next question.
That's it for questions at the moment. Let's keep these questions coming, guys. Still going for another 30 minutes or so. We'll answer as many as we can get through.
If you want to learn that the hard way, then challenge Rob at something. That's all I gotta
Don't
say.
challenge me.
What is the
No, we're talking about in death here, all right? Challenge LG. Then you can learn the hard way.
Yeah, but let's have that as a question maybe to what's the most challenging thing in this season.
That's a good question.
And then Rob, then you can just go ahead now.
Yeah.
Thanks. To be fair, and as I've talked to all of you and played various games with you or what have you as well, and this isn't me complaining, this is just the challenge of it, is the balance of trying to get everything done video-wise and trying to play the game as well. I find it really difficult. I really enjoy doing videos, but I also really enjoy playing the game. And you'd think that playing the game makes the videos, but yeah, it's not the case. So yeah, for me, the most challenging thing is trying to work that perfect work balance that nobody seems to be able to get. at the moment.
Yep.
You know, you've got to work on IDU and work on the videos. So, oh, sorry, it's supposed to be life-work balance, isn't it? No, it's work-work balance.
Okay.
But what about the actual game?
In the actual game, Cycle 15 was pretty interesting. Something that I'm going to have to update quite soon, I think, is the whole snow globing of Anakin, and how, because I haven't been to, at the time, I don't think I'd been past, I think, Cycle 13 or Cycle 14, and I swear they've changed his behavior ever so slightly. Again, something we were talking about before, that first Winter's Bite shot on Anakin, and the knight's already being there. Or you fire one, and it's like, oh, that's, like my video says, oh yeah, I'll fire another. And then you've got all those knights down your neck. And yeah, Cycle 15 with knights chasing you around. That's fun. So yeah, thankfully we've got that alcove, so that's good. But yeah, Anakin's always the challenge, because at any moment it can go hideously wrong and you're going back to the sanctuary. So yeah, it's always Anakin, always has been, unfortunately. Always a challenge.
Big Smith, most challenging part for you in the game?
Well, I mean, as far as the game, like, I would highly agree with Rob. I got pulled in a lot of different directions this season, and just trying to find a balance to play the game as well as the extracurriculars became extremely challenging. So that's very difficult when you're trying to be as much of a service to the community of the game by doing what Rob does very well, and make videos and help, bring, train and just mentor and just be a guide. That's very difficult. The game itself, I would say, trying to learn Siege of Heaven. Unfortunately, the same thing. I didn't spend enough time on it this season, but I still have a decent ranking on the scoreboard. But that is something that I never really committed to on any other season. So that was a challenge for sure for me. And then I'd also say just a lot of the new updates that they had, like not necessarily a challenging, but one of those things that I just kind of consistently think about as I'm playing the game, like with the amulets, essentially is what I'm getting at. With my bow run, I'm running, I think, Anakin's Flaw, and then with my crossbow, I might be running Blessed Quiver. Yeah, and so but when I guess you're at the level that we're at, you have one run per season, and you can't go back and change it. So that's challenging, and then just always second guessing yourself, thinking, I should have done something different. And those extra winter bites will certainly come in handy right about now. And so there's definitely some things that we'll switch up next season.
Definitely. T-Bows, most challenging thing?
Definitely Anakin, I feel, because I had to, or I was told that, the alcove method had to be adapted. So when you've played the game for so long using Sean's old method of not aggroing the knights and going into the side room, and you just have a system, I was very confident in that Anakin method. And then now this bow run, I've just used the alcove method, and I've had to learn it right from the start. And it just felt very, I was just unsure. It just felt unsure the whole time. And I still don't have the technique down 100% perfect. Like I said on my last Anakin battle, I didn't really know what to do when a knight teleports in behind Anakin and how to handle that knight or that monk. Because you forget that when you're in the alcove, you have monks that are all around the room, but they're just not aggroed yet. So when you leave the alcove, you have a party. And that is terrifying.
Definitely. I think for me, it's not necessarily the game that's the challenging part, it's myself, because I am very impatient. So I will quite happily dive into a party room going after that orphan, or just dive in and give it my all for the faster play.
If only we were rewarded for it,
yeah,
it'd be great, wouldn't
it?
If only got just a couple of points, or maybe a medal that said participant for doing it fast.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But that's it. So the most challenging part for me is just finding the patience to play slower at higher cycles, because I end up making just silly mistakes where I'm like just putting my foot on the gas pedal, as it were, for no reason. The only person I'm ruining is myself and my run. So yeah, I'd say that's for me. Do you want to finish it off, Atlas? What's your most challenging part? Although you don't really have any challenges being the current record holder.
Oh no challenges at all. Just kidding. I think I have 3 challenges. First is the catacombs in Desolation in high cycles, where this fire circle is closing in 1.5 seconds. I think even 1 second now in cycle 20.
That's fast.
I'm not going there. I'm still not going there. And you're not selling it to me either. You can stick your Desolation.
But that's like super adrenaline booster that I haven't like experienced in any other part of the game, where you also need to get to the Exorcist. And there is one particular catacomb which is like he's so far in the underground that you need like to be really quick, and then kind of being able to freeze him and then handle the mobs while in the same time knock him out. And then cycle 20 it takes 2 Winter's Bites to be able to keep him frozen. Then the second part is obviously Asmodeus or the Incubus at that second stage. And the third one, actually, Rob reminded me with his latest video. I think that was one brilliant detail.
That orphan
in the
Why would you put one there? Why? Why?
Is the most challenging thing. And if I see someone doing that consistently in high cycles, I would say he or she is the king of this game. That's an impossible hunt.
Yeah.
If you have that orphan.
100%.
So risky. So risky.
Oh my god, I was thinking that yesterday because I always get my orphan on that level. And then I thought about LG. I'm like, I don't know if I've watched a video with LG doing this orphan, and I want to know how he does it, because I literally just stand there and like wave goodbye to her, like, see you.
That's the footage I needed. That's the footage I needed for the video that I finished today. I couldn't get it. I went on and went through about 8 cycles, getting Pit of Agony, and the orphan was never there. Not
always
once.
No.
Always on.
That's
next
what I was
to
going
the 2
to
Black
say.
Knights.
This whole season, she has always been on the stairs.
ones.
I can never get her on that main level because I've been trying to make a video of it too, but she's never
Oh
there
my
anymore.
god.
So
I'm
yeah,
apparently
cycle
not
8
that
didn't get
lucky.
it.
That's good.
I've never had her on the
But then my
stairs. I don't think
actual bow
not
run
once.
or my actual crossbow run, every time.
Like it.
Yeah.
So, what is everyone's most frustrating or dangerous enemy? Let's kick it off.
I feel like the skeleton archers, 100%.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I thought you were going to say your patience, Jay. But yeah, fair enough.
Actual enemy.
Yeah,
myself.
I think everyone hates the skeleton archers.
They are horrible.
I'd have to agree.
It's a
skeleton
toss-up.
archers.
If you jump in, like I can't remember what cycle I was in, but I didn't do Desolation forever because I was chasing the stupid golden bat in Purgatory. That it does actually exist. I've seen it on a recent cycle, believe it or not. But those stupid bats in Desolation. Oh my goodness! I think I'd rather take on
it's optional.
skeleton archers
You don't
than
have to go
a
there.
herd of those bats. I know,
It's
but
optional.
it's a toss-up. Those bats are the skeleton archers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
Yeah, definitely
couldn't
the
agree
bats
more.
too.
On the skeleton archers, that's brings fear to me even now. So it's like I will never be to a level being comfortable with skeleton archers in the room.
That
The
was
bats,
literally the.
I figure out a way to handle the bats with the shield bash. It's not. You need to practice it a little bit, so you kind of need to bend your body and you kind of extend your arm and then shield bash them. So that works, but it's still kind of risky. You could take a hit, so
Yeah.
I agree with the bats as well.
Like it.
Yeah.
If we were looking at close seconds, for me, it would actually be the Abyss Archers, the flame trimmed black archers. They're getting. I don't know if they've changed anything. They're getting really clever.
I understand where
Like
you're
there's
coming
been a
from.
few times. There's been a few times where I'll Hand of God a couple of them, and I'll be concentrating on one, and the other one will jump out. So you haven't taken a hit. You're not supposed to do that. But then I suppose technically, I know it doesn't do any damage, but their life bar does show up. So maybe that does count as a hit, and they skip out and jump because of it.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're really fast, and they're the worst one for doing that stupid sideways shot where they're not even aiming at you and manage to bend the arrows around corners. Oh no, leave it. It's hilarious.
That has been
we love it,
somewhere.
really.
That has been mentioned somewhere in the comments. What are the chances we will ever get a new boss? Very, very slim at the current direction the game is going. So the reason Desolation was added alongside Purgatory as an optional route to Anakim was because we didn't want to keep the game in a linear progression and add it like after the Abyss or somewhere in between before you fight Asmodeus at the end. Because then like the less skilled players and people that are new to the game would never experience that part of the game. Because then you'd have to get like there's still people that struggle to get through just one cycle, let alone like the amount of cycles we get through. So adding it as an option to go either way to get to the first boss. Obviously the next step will be to add a second option instead of Paradise Lost and try and go down that route, so you've got two options again, and then obviously the same for the Abyss eventually. Is
that what they're doing then? That's definitely the direction that it's going.
It's the direction we want to try and take it, because otherwise keeping it linear, as I said, if you just keep adding it to the end and adding it to the end and adding it to the end, you'll have 50% of the community that has never seen those two latest like worlds because they can't get there or don't have the skills to get there yet. So that's why that's done. So the chance of a new boss coming are very, very slim at the current moment in time. Are the developers working on a fix for the monks and cupids facing the wrong direction but still able to shoot you? Very confusing as to where to hide when they do this. It is on the list of things to be fixed.
It's a lot of fun.
That's the worst. My last one, that was like the main thing, was like I had a cupid teleport to me, and then I teleported away. The cupid was facing the other way, but the arrow still hit me, and I'm like, you know what? It makes you really mad because you know that like the teleporting away is you dodging, and it's like you can't even dodge because the arrow still hits you when you teleport the opposite way.
Mm-hmm. I find it best, like I'll happily join the complaining crowd. I do find it funny when it happens. It's like, that guy's a boss. That guy gets it. He knows how to shoot. If I could shoot like that, I'd have him made. That's probably how LG does it. Who knows?
Yeah, that's it. That's his secret.
The other ones, the ones that always amuse me, don't take this out of the game because it's great. The knights with their axes, when they throw it behind them, it's absolutely fantastic. The animation looks all wrong, but the axe still coming.
I think the best one that catches people out is, have you ever had a knight fall off into the abyss, in the abyss?
Yes.
And they still try and throw an axe, like a last ditch effort.
Yes.
Whatever. You just watch it just slowly coming up over and over and over again.
I've been hit by that one before. I've been hit by that one before. Look, peering as we were talking about previous, peering over the edge. I've caught one of those to the face. I've tried to recreate it for a video. It's not going to happen.
No,
it knows. I swear, the moment I press that record button, everyone behaves. Everyone does everything. I've seen that glitch. Everybody, but me, has had that glitch where the body stays. Do you know how many videos I can make out of that? Do you know how much I can do with that footage if I'm the one there that's allowed to play? So yeah, that's really annoying. Really annoying.
So the answer is yes, it is on the to-do list, as it were. Is Super Right working on any other games or plan to? That is classified information, and I shall move on to the next bit.
Ooh, classified information.
There's your answer.
Whoa. Because I love Super Bright, and there's a lot of people who are going to be watching this that love Super Bright as well. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to see Super Bright's name on the box, so to speak, of whatever game. And they're going to get it. So is that, can you confirm that they are actually doing something else? Or can you just, because you wouldn't say that it's classified if that wasn't what was happening.
I was trying to skip past it. I'm
sorry.
We're a games development company. Of course, there's other projects in the works for new games in the future. Why
Excellent.
wouldn't there be?
That'll do. That's enough for now.
That's enough for now. That's all you need to know. Jay, have you ever thought about the ability to combine arrow types to build a completely new arrow that would actually make Unholy Wind useful? I mean,
No,
it's,
it wouldn't.
it's not a bad idea.
Unholy Wind would not combine with anything.
A couple of months,
Except for fire and ice.
a couple of months ago, we did have a discussion about like potential arrows we could try and add into the game or remove from the game and stuff. Obviously, everyone knows Unholy Wind is rubbish. Even the devs get a kick out of it and knowing how rubbish it is. But there's obviously like coding involved that obviously you fix something over there, then something breaks over there, and it's causing a lot of complications. So it's easier for us to just leave it in the game for now and address it later once like tech gets better and Unreal Engine decides to sort itself out and update and stuff. So yeah, so
never remove anything. And see, one of the simple fact of the matter is as well, if we didn't have Unholy Wind, then our entire community would have nothing to take the piss out of.
that is true.
And so they would have to create Unholy Wind so that we had, I don't know, a meme arrow, I guess.
That is true.
But you still have shrapnel blast and ricocheting needles.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna say that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad at Unholy Wind because I feel like Unholy Wind knows that it's a crap arrow, but it's ricocheting cats and stuff that try to be a good arrow but are so terrible that I get more mad when I get those drops versus Unholy Wind.
Yeah,
That's true.
Rick cats are,
Yeah.
they're not the way, unfortunately. You can hit something point blank in the face, it bounces off. You can hit them at distance, point blank, and it bounces off. Brilliant. You fire it into a wall to get it round a corner, though. Oh, you know it's sticking in that wall all day.
Yep.
All day.
Like it. So, Sean has asked, what is the toughest world for each of us players? Is there a difference in the enemy health between cycles 15 and 18, or are they about the same? So kicking that off, the toughest world for myself, I'd probably say is Desolation, to be honest. I just don't agree with the bats. They're a great feature, but I hate them. That's for me. And then
I'm sure you probably suggested them as an enemy type as well. Well, there you
I
go.
did not.
That's
I did
your
not.
fault.
I did not. If what did I come up with? I can't remember. I don't know. I had some input to some stuff, but it's
Didn't you have a say on the Exorcist, flamey circle thing? Is that you?
just the way the animation worked. It was
Okay.
the prototype we first done wasn't very clear as to what was happening to the player. So I put in a suggestion there, just needed to be worked on a bit better. But now obviously the animation we've got is quite clear as to you're being engulfed in fire, get out. So yeah, but obviously I get to have some input and stuff, but it's I don't get the final say, as it were. So toughest place for me is Desolation. Obviously, difference in health between cycles 15 and 18. The better person to ask for that is Atlas.
Difference. I don't think there is that much difference, to be honest. It's not that it's progressing speed-wise, of course, health-wise. So I don't really see it as a challenge between 15 and 18 or 20, except for the bosses, right? And when we speak about bosses, that's Asmodeus and Anakim, because Gabriel is more or less the same boring type of fight. So the only difference I perceive it was with the bosses. Everything else is more or less the same.
Yeah, fair enough. And what's the toughest world for you?
Paradise Lost, hands down.
Yeah.
So many cupids, weird kind of maps, structures, where if we said earlier that the strategy is to pull one enemy at a time, I think it's practically impossible to do that in Paradise Lost. I think you're always surrounded by a Banshee monk, 5 cupids, and
Yeah.
when they come in together as well with the
And they
cupids.
come in
I've had that a
together,
few
and
times. That's
sometimes-
ridiculous. It's like just a
And-
mass of wings and arrows and bows
And in a lot
and
of
weird
times,
bodies.
and in a lot of times, I think they're programmed to wait for the most inconvenient moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then they teleport.
They definitely
Like,
are.
Yeah.
And that to
definitely
me
are.
is like the ultimate, as I said before this started, is like where I really get anxious and I sweat. Like you really need to work for it to finish that level. So Paradise Lost, definitely the most challenging one.
Like it. T-Bowls, most challenging world.
Well, I feel like what LG says makes a lot of sense about Paradise Lost, but I haven't reached the high cycle that he's at where it's a major issue yet. So for now, I would say desolation, because it's not even so much the bats. The bats don't scare me, but I have not come up with a good way to handle the catacomb area. Like with the exorcists, like the ring of fire really freaks me out. That I'm like, I don't know the timing, like I don't know how much time I have in the ring of fire, and then it gets faster, and it's just something I know
6
that
seconds.
if I were to choose desolation at this cycle, I would be skipping the downstairs area 100%. So that's why it's not worth it for me to even do it. So yeah.
Big Smith?
Desolation for sure, for all the same reasons. Mainly the catacombs again.
Yeah.
Just the bats suck, but the catacombs are just. It's just too scary down there. It's nothing but hurt feelings and broken dreams down there. In the catacombs.
Yeah.
Silver?
I mean, you guys know it's optional, right? You don't have to go there. It's a
I don't
think
go
it was
there.
choice.
It was an in general question. Okay?
But it was a question.
See, that's the
you
thing
had
is,
to answer.
I would have said desolation. That would have been my answer. However, I choose not to go there. So I'm with
Exactly.
LG on this one. It's Paradise Lost all day. Yeah, Paradise Lost is definitely a challenge. T, you've got Cupids taking multiple hits to look forward to. And
They
ghosts.
do already. They do
Oh,
already.
do they?
I'm at multiple hits, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think. How far are you off of a headshot not killing them? I think that's more of a you territory, isn't it, LG? A headshot not killing them, or does a headshot always kill them close?
No, where I'm at, you need to take 2
Shot, one body.
shots and 1 body shot.
Yeah, 2 to 3, like 2 body shots is doable. 3 body shots is just too much. Just stop it. And yeah, ghosts taking any more than 1 hit as well. That's ridiculous as well. But yeah, definitely,
that's what I just
definitely
reached, and
Paradise
I was not aware
Surprise!
of the cycle that happens at. And then I hit the ghost and it didn't die, and I'm like, oh my god.
Time to run.
Yeah,
that's when you retreat, when the unexpected happens.
We're starting to run out of time, so let's try and quick fire through a few more of these. So how long did it take each one of you before you were able to really start advancing on the higher levels? Big Smith, from the start?
I would say.
How long were you playing
probably 30 to 45 days before I was able to. And I mean, I played consistently, every day for 30, 45 days. And then I was probably getting into cycle 7, 8, 9. And then, every game, every time I would restart, I would gain another 1 or 2 cycles and learn from my mistakes, just gradually get better and better.
Okay, Atlas?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just read through some of the comments. Can you repeat the question?
Because how long were you playing for before you really started advancing into higher light cycles?
I don't know what the exact time period is, but I know that before I joined the Facebook group, I was like really bad at this game. 30,000-40,000 points was what I was getting at. And then I think the learning curve just went skyrocketing when I joined the group and watching videos from the devil himself and For the Right and other great players that I carefully analyzed. So you could say a few months. I was in a few months of limbo.
Yeah, like it. Silver?
I mean, me and you kind of started off at the same time, didn't we, Beans?
Yeah.
I think it was a bit longer because for me, it should have been shorter, and it's really annoying that it's not. You don't get good. You don't get good overnight. I started on the main game, hated it, or couldn't make my mind up about it. Then Siege happened, and then me and you started chatting, and got a bit competitive, and we haven't looked back since. And then I found that by doing a lot of Siege gave me all the tools that I needed to do the main game. So I probably put, I don't know, we were going for hours upon hours and days upon days in Siege, and you were only playing the main game a bit back then.
Yeah, I started on Siege of Heaven before I transferred over.
I remember the biggest struggle for me was getting to 100%, and I put myself in this probably more than everybody else here, probably a couple of months, maybe 3 months to get to 100%. And as I think anyway, when you get to 100% is when you should be at the point where you either know the questions to ask or possess the skills to be able to start scoring highly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say 3 months, and that wasn't good. That was 3 months. Now I can play the game. Then there was all of the caveats to learn and all the bits and pieces, and I didn't have any videos to watch either. Or I had For the Rights, but he just does massive long plays, so you have to pull the information that you need out of them, which is kind of why I do a little bit of what I do, because I figure I've got all this useless knowledge in my head and I've got to put it somewhere so that somebody can see it. So,
like it.
Yeah.
T-Rolls?
I was actually asked this question personally the other day, so I went back into the Facebook group to see my posts to see when I reached cycle 10, and I reached cycle 10 in about 2.5 months, but I joined the Facebook group right away, like the day I bought the game. And then I took it upon myself to reach out to top players, or some of them, and get a mentor. So I was personally mentored by For the Right and Chris Berry, and they really helped me. Basically, they challenged me to do certain things. They would give me like tasks and different things to do, and I would go and do them, and then it just made me so much better at the game.
Yeah, I remember you coming up, actually. You came up very fast. So well done. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I expect to see you in the top 5 next season.
I never forget.
we'll
There's a
see
week
about
to
that.
go.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Still a week to go. Never know. For myself, it was probably, I was quite a fast learner. So, like, when I joined, I'd had the game for 4 days before they done the first Siege of Heaven tournament back in season 2, and then came 3rd place in the tournament. So after only owning the game for like 3 days, I'd say that was quite an achievement. Yeah, and then the knowledge I took from Siege of Heaven just moved over to the main game. So for me, it was more like, I don't know, 2 months really, I suppose. Maybe a little bit less before I started pushing higher cycles in the main game. But then, as I said previously on the stream, my problem was patience. I couldn't just sit back and take it slow. I just wanted to get involved in the action. So that's that one. Rob Anson says, how about adding collectibles so we can have a personalised trophy cases in the sanctuary? Again, that's another good idea. I'll definitely jot that one down and note it after the stream.
Scalps, ears, and fingers. If we can take those from monks, cherubs, and knights, and then display them all in a trophy. See, the thing is, we kind of already have that, but you only get to see it when you die. But that wall of death is fantastic. Cool. So yeah.
Jeff Storms, what skill do you think is required to be a top player? I'll answer this one for all of us, and I'd say that it's not necessarily a skill, but it's game knowledge. I don't know if everyone's in
patience.
Yeah, a unanimous agreement on that. On game knowledge and patience. It's I'm pretty sure everyone in the stream right now, we could tell you what enemies are in every single room throughout the game. If it really come down to it. Or near enough, anyway. There's very
likely compositions, likely places, likely enemies.
That's it. So again, it's just game knowledge, and you only get that from playing over and over and over again. So Sean, I think I speak for everyone when I say we would all like to see more of Robert's personal play videos. Tiffany, Big Smith, and LG post occasionally. Where are yours, Robert?
That's a good question.
Wow.
That's probably the
Where
best
are they,
I
Rob?
like it.
That is a very good question.
You're being
And I
called
don't
out
think
there, I
you'll
think.
like the answer. No, I don't think people will like the answer. I find the watching of the game, because of the aforementioned of how we have to play, I don't find it that interesting. It's like, okay, so let me break it down a little bit. I don't mind watching others. I find that interesting. However, I don't find watching myself interesting. And so I've got this kind of a bit of a chip on my shoulder. If I don't find it interesting, then why would other people find it interesting? Now, I know that might not be the case, but then I look at it also. It's funny because I thought about this today. I was like, so I just spent 30 hours editing all of this video together, and I could just turn the recording button on. And then I thought, well, no, that's the way that I do things is one way. And there's loads of videos out there of gameplay. I don't think you would expect to see much different from me than the others, unless we were doing the playing fast and loose style that everybody seems to hate. So, yeah, that's part and parcel.
Or you would see Robert's newest secret. I think that's more the reason.
Yeah, that too. You know,
I'll let it secret out.
You know,
I'll let it
have my
secret
toys.
out. He's swapped out his Cap 5 for Hail of Arrows.
I was just gonna say that. I'm like,
on the
Hail of
crossbow
Arrows.
anyway. With the crossbow,
No,
Hail of Arrows is hard to control.
Yeah, Hail of Arrows is hard to control with the bow, but the spread of it is fine.
Yeah.
The Hail of Arrows switch on the crossbow, I just find I can rain more damage onto a Hand of Godded Anakin's face than Cat 5 can put out in the same time.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was analysing, the only thing that I was berating myself for making the switch for in like cycle 14 was, you've forgotten that it puts the world into slow time a bit when the explosions go off, you idiot. So I was like, I had to rattle even faster for him, but it's all headshots as well. So it's all headshots and it's all score. I wouldn't say it's a big secret, but yeah, there is another arrow that has been mentioned in the comments on my channel that has been looked into by others that is technically a score and arrow, but nothing on the lines of what Needles was doing.
Did you leave it?
So but as I said, but genuinely, I know I say it, you might have seen me commenting it or writing it or something along those lines, that, you know, oh, they took away my toys because I unveiled the truth sort of thing or what have you. If I knew that a technique for scoring high, I can't help myself. I have to show others. Because what's the point?
That's it.
What's the point of finding this out if I don't tell everybody about it? Which is why I can do your job. Because I'll be like, oh, I've got a load of information I'm not allowed to talk to here, and here it is.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
But that's exactly what I told you. I said you can't complain about, Super Bright taking your toys away when you tell Super Bright what your toys are.
Just don't get it. You
You made Rob speechless. What happened?
If you want the good things, if you want the nice things, see the big, like, all right, let's talk about it quick. The big thing is Barrage. Yeah, I'll be quick. Barrage of Needles. Some people see it as a cheat. Some people see it as an exploit. Some people see it as a good strategy. The fact of the matter is, sniping and long distance play is still king. Because what I was starting to allude to in one of my videos is resources. Do you know, like, the people that didn't play Barrage of Needles but then said, oh, we don't like this style because didn't play it. I mean, I know Beanie did, and I know Sean's used it probably to push his score over the edge as far as LG's last season, potentially. But yeah, the way that you have to play Barrage of Needles is so dangerous and requires so many resources and becomes so difficult later on.
That's why it was decided that it would be kept in the game for at least
Bring
until
it
the end
back.
of the season.
Bring it back. Give us
Because
something else.
Yeah.
it is a high risk,
Yeah.
high reward style of play for
Yeah.
for
And if
players
you
that-
level the playing field and everybody knows about it, then it's
Yeah.
not really an exploit or a cheat.
yeah, exactly.
It's just a strategy.
Rob Anderson, why does the bow tension decrease? Quick draw artists like Rico shoot powerfully, but we assassins who draw and hold have weak arcing shots. That's definitely a new one to me, buddy. All I can suggest is change your posture, maybe. Make sure you're getting full draw on the bow.
Yeah.
It's, but I don't know anyone else has had that issue. Don't know if you guys have seen
It could be like a tracking thing though, because I know that for me, like with having long hair, if I don't put my hair up and my arm goes kind of in behind my hair, my tracking on the bow will go haywire and my arrow will just plop to the ground.
Yeah, maybe.
I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned that because Big Smith was talking about that the other day as well. He was chatting to me on part of the stream.
He's got a very amused look on his face.
He can't keep a straight face, not whilst I'm here.
Right, let's move in quick. Rob Anderson, Big Smith, are you going to overtake Atlas at the end of the last second of season 4?
Hell no, not a chance. I'm not even playing bow right now. I mean, I played. I think I got to cycle. I don't know. I think I'm on cycle 14 or 15 with my bow, but that, I mean, I played like one level, but I'm already, I don't know, almost 20 million. So I'm really trying to boost up my crossbow score and surprise Rob this season more than LG. LG,
Yeah, I was going to say,
he can have
chasing
it.
the low-hanging fruit.
I ain't even doing that. Yeah, I ain't even going there.
I like it.
I've been pissing Rob off all season, so I might as well keep it up.
Like it.
Dear.
Next question is doing the pits necessary? Well,
Technically, no.
Technically, no. You can play however you wish. It's yeah. You can play how you want to play. It's your game. It's your play style. If you want to compete for the top 10 score, then absolutely. Like, pits give you a 2.5 times multiplier all the time you're in there on all the other scoring categories. So why wouldn't you go in if you're trying to push for points?
Plus extra
But it's
resources
also-
as well.
Yeah.
I think what I learned this season too, though, was that, I mean, because I've never skipped a pit before up until this season, and it was a strategic move that I had to make. And had I not skipped that pit, I would not be in cycle 14 at the moment. So that was, I feel like you have to make the decision based on what your current situation is. And I feel like if you are low on specials, especially Winner's Bite, and there's no quivers on the map, then that's, the decision that I had to make was that, if I jumped in the pit and there was skeleton archers, I would most likely die because I had no Winner's Bite, and then I wouldn't have any Winner's Bite for Anakin either. So
There you go.
But pits is where you practice or improve your skills. So
Yeah, definitely.
aside from the points, I think it's such a good training exercise
yeah.
to improve your reflexes, shooting, game knowledge. I think that's essential if you want to progress. But it's
Yeah.
okay to skip,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever makes you comfortable. Yeah.
No, definitely. Atlas, what time is it where you are? You look tired.
It's,
I was going to say, but I didn't want to mention it.
it's 8:15 in Copenhagen, where I'm based, but I don't think it's about
Yeah.
the
There's
the
no
time
bad
of the day. I think it's because I've done 20 cycles.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
He's
very
tired.
like it.
Yeah, I was
He's
going to say,
tired
it's not
because
So I'm
time,
he
it's
tired.
the years that have been added
Yeah.
up.
He's tired because he just took 28 minutes to kill Gabe. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would
Yeah,
be
give the
tired.
gun a
It's a long
break.
time. I'm guessing this is aimed at you, Silver. Sean says you don't have to watch yourself. We want to watch you.
Yeah, but do you know how often, like in the editing process, I have to watch myself over and over and over again And as much as it probably sounds like I like the sound of my own voice, and I'm sure I probably do, I have to listen to myself over and over and over again. So, but the thing is, the things that I'm doing are starting to get to the point now where live streaming is the next thing for me to have a look at. So
Yeah, definitely.
there you go. If people want to see that, then I shall show them it, but I'll be doing it on a live stream basis. So.
Because posting gameplay footage doesn't require you to edit anything. You're just videoing your gameplay and posting it. So you don't really have to listen to yourself.
You get a choice whether to turn your microphone on or off as well. So
same as everyone else then, though, isn't it, Tiff?
Yeah.
Got to be different. I don't do things the same. I get told off for using barrage of needles. I get told off for jumping into the middle of courtyards, spinning around and shooting everything. So of course I'm not going to just record gameplay. It'd be ridiculous. I'll do it completely differently.
I need to run away for 2 seconds, so I'll leave you guys with this question from Paul Coastal again. When learning the different worlds, do you suggest doing full runs or going to each world through their own portal to learn them? I'll leave that with you guys for a second.
Anyone want to go first?
Definitely. Well, for me, when I was in different worlds, as soon as I unlocked the new world, I was only doing that world until I could go through it and beat the boss. You know, I feel like it would be, but I did reach a point where then I would turn it into runs, but I definitely did each world individually first.
I'll host then, Sean.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no worries. Over to you.
So, I mean, to some degree, you don't really have a choice on a lot of the matter because when you're first starting out the game, and I don't remember the exact number, but I mean, you have to kill Anakim so many times before Paradise Lost unlocks, and then you have to whatever you have to do to unlock the Abyss. I can't even remember, but the game kind of forces you to, I would say, master like Purgatory before you can get to Paradise Lost, and then of course you have all the achievements you have to do to unlock Desolation. So I mean, I don't know that I would solely focus on just mastering one level more than another, because the levels obviously they have a finite amount of arrangements that they populate, but I just think you're going to hold yourself back from just progressing in the game if you're just solely focusing on trying to master one world.
Yeah,
go on, LG. I'll go last.
I actually a bit have an opposite approach than what Sean stated. I think what I was doing in the past is looking at the other players' videos and then jump into that same kind of map layout and practice that. So I'm able to replicate the moves that I thought was useful, and then just focus on that part and ready to jump on the next thing when I master that specific map or an enemy. So
yeah,
I think that would be my advice.
Back in my day, I didn't have all these videos. I didn't have all of these videos to watch. So for me, a lot of the game was unknown. And I've also played, it's not that there wasn't videos out there, I just didn't go after them. I think it's still quite important to experience this game without having watched any of it to begin with. Because there's some great surprises in it. Like when your first Red Knight shows up, that's fun. But for me, it wasn't as much going to the levels, it was concentrating on the actual percentage and progression. So I wouldn't go to a specific level to do something there, I wouldn't go to a specific level to do it over and over again and become familiar with it. I would go to a specific level because I needed to kill so many Cupids. I needed to kill so many of this. I needed to get these kind of shots. I needed to do various things. So my game ran along the lines of playing each of the levels, knowing the sort of composition of enemies, and then looking at my achievements boards and going after the achievements based on what map I thought would have been best for it. Like, for instance, If you want to kill a lot of Cupids, you go to Paradise Lost. If you want to kill a lot of abominations, you go to Abyss, as it happens. So
I like it. Good answers. How many cycles do you all keep up with Executioner bonus?
0.
Not execution.
I don't do executioner bonus at all. Not 1 minute.
Same.
If that's not obvious. I mean,
I don't even know why you'd ask that question to these lot. You should have just skipped over that one. It's just going to be me and you answering.
That's true.
Up until about cycle...
Cycle
I
4
don't
is a
know.
push.
It's like cycle 4's a push. You can do it past that, and the way that you can do it past that, and this is right. This isn't a trick. This isn't a way to play the game. But what you can do is you can jump into an area and reduce everything's damage, and then start executing, which is something that I've been playing with, because the problem with the executioner bonus is it isn't based on headshots, which I kind of think it should be, but then they need to change the name if that's the case, but it's based on kills. So one of the things that you can do to score extra, if you really want to, because it's a lot of work, is go into the area, reduce all of the enemies' health, so that they're basically, in essence, cycle 1 or maybe cycle 2 enemies, then go in and attack, and then you can keep the executioner bonus going. In answer to the question, no, I don't do it anymore either. I'm getting really, really sick and tired of dying on the hill of executioner and not getting rewarded for it, which is why in the last video that I've done, didn't even mention it, because it's not the way to play the game anymore, because you're not rewarded for it.
That's
or
it.
What reward you get is high risk. The reward is so low. You don't even get a participant medal. But anyway,
Yeah, it definitely...
So the executioner bonus super bright, please.
It plays a part in early cycles, but yeah, from cycle 3, 4 is a push, and onwards, it's not even worth trying to go for, because if you can put that time and effort into long distance headshots to increase your marksman score, it's rewarding. It's more rewarding in terms of points.
Yeah.
Rob Anderson, Jay, what's under the beanie? Just another beanie. Believe it or not. Atlas, how is your name pronounced?
Oh.
I don't think I'm
It's
allowed.
getting personal now. It's a personal question.
Do you know what the funny thing is? We've never asked him either, and we all know him.
I've asked him.
You did,
times.
but that's
Didn't
private
ask.
because I'm not allowed to say it as this a hidden achievement in the game.
So, you pronounce it correctly, you get 101% achievement scored.
No, you'll get Unholy Wind 2, which is pushed
Think a better sequel.
away a little bit further.
Like it. Right, final question. Do you use Cat 5 on Anakin beyond Cycle 13?
Yeah, you can use that, but you can also do with Winter's Bites. If you have like loads of Winter's Bites, you could take him down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's safe to keep those Cat 5s, because in my last video, when I was not having the cats, I needed to jump out of the alcove and finish him.
Definitely.
So it's advisable to keep it, but I would say you could handle it with lots of Winter's Bites as well.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. It's just a good insurance policy, just
Brilliant.
to carry him just in case.
Sorry, that is a top comment. So Paolo Kopinski, which is Atom from Super Bright, is one of the managers. He's just said Unholy Wind 2 will be weaker with a wink face.
Oh, dear.
I don't know that that's possible, but
I like it as a top tier comment. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That wraps it up. We've done an hour and a half. We're half an hour
Just
long.
before we go,
Go for it.
since we've actually got a developer in the comments, or if they're still here,
Power.
who? I've got to ask, right? In Siege of, I wrote this down earlier because we started talking about it and then we stopped. Who is responsible for that shuffle of the enemies when they're getting close to the end of the gate on Siege? Who programmed that? Who decided that was a good idea? If you play Siege, you know what I'm talking about. I would like an answer. We'd all like an answer.
That's a very good question. I can't lie with that.
I hate it. I hate it.
Every time. It's always the
Ruins
second you
so
let
many
go of the
runs.
arrow as well, isn't
Yep.
it? The
Yep.
second you let go of the
Yeah.
arrow, they just go, no.
Or you anticipate it and they don't do it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're on about.
Yeah, thanks
Who
for that,
knows?
developers. Most
It's
appreciated.
Awesome.
Blame Jay.
Blame Jay for everything he just said. I like it. I'll take it. Yeah, that was his answer. Blame Jay for everything.
Blame Jay for everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't hear
just
that
blame
then.
me. That's fine. I'll take it.
Do you know why I didn't hear that? Because it's just my standard advice. So
Yeah.
don't even hear it
I
anymore.
know
Just
everyone
blame
does
Jay
that
for
anyway,
everything.
so it's fine.
Yeah, hey, it's the life you chose, mate.
Yep,
It's the
apparently
life
so.
you chose.
Apparently so. But that's going to be all from us, guys. Again, obviously, season 4 is coming to an end. There is 1 week left, so try and get those final scores in. Blame Canada. What are you blaming Canada for? You can't blame
Hey,
Canada.
what about Canada?
Oh, he's also Canadian, so he's
Oh,
taking
yeah.
the blame
Oh,
too.
in that case, he's
There
probably
you go.
allowed
I've
to.
got someone else that can take the blame with me. Yeah, obviously, season 4 is coming to an end, so get those final scores up. Paul says, thank you, everyone, and happy hunting for season 5. That's it. Season 5. New Siege of Heaven maps coming. It's super bright. There's going to be a tournament. There's always a tournament with new content. It's been a thing for the past 4 seasons. Why won't there be?
May long be it speed-based.
He loves the speed based. That's it. So yeah, get those final scores in
Okay.
so you can score the most legend points, and I guess we'll see you in season 5, and we'll take it from there. Cheers, coming in, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you.
So salutis.